Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Dominion and watched the massive space station grow larger on the main screen. Haven Station looked like a giant metal flower floating in the darkness between the stars. This neutral meeting place had seen many diplomatic talks during the long war between the three alien races. Now it would witness something completely new. Captain Ben Rodriguez walked up beside him and checked his tablet. The human fleet had arrived exactly on schedule. 50 warships hung in perfect formation around the station like silent guardians. Each ship was larger and more advanced than anything the aliens had ever built. The crews inside waited for orders with the patience that only humans seemed to possess. Jake touched his communication device and spoke clearly. "This is Admiral Morrison of the United Earth Coalition Fleet to Haven Station Control. We request permission to dock and begin diplomatic proceedings." The reply came quickly, but Jake could hear the nervousness in the alien voice. "Admiral Morrison, this is Haven Station Administrator Crixtull. We welcome you to our neutral space. Please dock at Bay 7. We have prepared meeting rooms for the diplomatic talks." 3 hours later, Jake sat in a large circular room facing representatives from the three alien powers. The Zephyrian High Commander Veltar looked like a tall lizard wearing military decorations. His yellow eyes studied the humans with obvious concern. The Karathi Prime Minister Gexna resembled a giant insect with delicate wings folded behind her back. She spoke in musical tones that the translation computers turned into perfect English. The Vixani representative was the strangest of all. Node 07 appeared to be a floating crystal that pulsed with different colors when it communicated for its hive mind collective. Dr. Amy Walsh sat next to Jake and activated her recording equipment. As the chief cultural expert, she would study everything about this first meeting. Her job was to understand how the alien minds worked and help prevent misunderstandings that could lead to violence. High Commander Veltar spoke first. "Admiral Morrison, your arrival has surprised us all. We were not aware that humans had developed such advanced space travel capabilities. Your fleet is most impressive." Jake smiled politely. "Thank you, Commander. Humans have been exploring space for quite some time. We simply preferred to observe before making contact." Prime Minister Gexna leaned forward with interest. "How long have you been observing us, Admiral?" "Long enough to witness your recent war and to understand the current political situation," Jake replied calmly. "We watched three great civilizations tear themselves apart for 300 years. Now we see you trying to rebuild from the devastation." The crystal that was Node 07 pulsed bright red. "You watched but did not offer assistance. Why did you wait until after the war ended to reveal yourselves?" Dr. Walsh spoke up for the first time. "Our policy has always been to avoid interference in the natural development of other species. However, President Carter has decided that humanity can no longer remain isolated from galactic affairs." High Commander Veltar shifted uncomfortably in his chair. "What exactly does humanity want from us?" Jake stood up and walked to a large window that showed the human fleet floating in space. "We want peace, Commander. Lasting peace that will allow all our civilizations to grow and prosper. The galaxy has seen enough war." "And if we do not agree to your terms for peace?" asked Prime Minister Gexna. Captain Rodriguez entered the room at that moment carrying a datapad. He walked directly to Jake and whispered something in his ear. Jake nodded and turned back to the alien representatives. "Perhaps a demonstration would be helpful," Jake said. "Captain Rodriguez, please show our guests the training exercise we planned." Ben activated a holographic display in the center of the room. The display showed space around Haven Station with all the ships clearly marked. Suddenly, 12 new contacts appeared on the screen moving at incredible speed toward the station. "Those are Karathi patrol ships approaching at maximum velocity," Ben explained. "They appear to be conducting a reconnaissance mission." High Commander Veltar looked surprised. "How did you detect them so quickly?" "Our sensors show nothing. Human technology operates on different principles," Dr. Walsh said. "We developed our detection methods during our own conflicts in the Sol system." The holographic display continued to track the approaching Karathi ships. When they came within weapons range of the human fleet, something amazing happened. 6 human fighters launched from the UES Dominion and intercepted the patrol ships in less than 30 seconds. The alien ships found themselves surrounded and completely unable to maneuver. "Impossible," whispered Prime Minister Gexna. "Those human ships moved faster than our sensors could track them." The demonstration lasted only 5 minutes. The human fighters escorted the Karathi patrol ships to a safe distance and then returned to their carriers. No weapons were fired and no damage was done. It was a perfect example of human military superiority demonstrated with minimal force. Node 07 pulsed yellow and spoke for its collective. Your technology appears to be significantly more advanced than ours. How did you achieve such rapid development? Focused research and development over many generations, Jake replied. While you were fighting each other, we were learning from your mistakes and improving our capabilities. The room fell silent for several minutes. Each alien representative was probably communicating with their home governments and trying to understand what they had just witnessed. Jake waited patiently for their response. Finally, High Commander Veltar spoke again. Admiral Morrison, what do you propose for this new era of peace? Complete disarmament of all military forces and acceptance of human authority over galactic affairs, Jake said simply. The aliens looked shocked. Prime Minister Gexna stood up quickly. You expect us to surrender our independence? We expect you to be reasonable, Dr. Walsh interjected. Your recent war proved that the three races cannot coexist peacefully without outside guidance. Humanity offers that guidance, so and if we refuse? Asked Node 07. Captain Rodriguez stepped forward and activated another holographic display. This one showed the entire galactic region, with hundreds of new contacts appearing from previously unknown sectors. Human fleets were positioned throughout space in numbers that dwarfed anything the aliens had ever assembled. Then you will face the full might of human military power, Ben said quietly. But we would prefer cooperation to conflict. High Commander Veltar stared at the display for a long time. You have been planning this for decades. Centuries, Jake corrected. We learned patience during our journey to the stars. We also learned that peace requires strength and the will to use it when necessary. The meeting continued for 6 more hours. The alien representatives asked hundreds of questions about human intentions and capabilities. Jake answered them all honestly, while Dr. Walsh took careful notes about alien reactions and concerns. By the end of the day, it was clear that the galaxy had changed forever. As the aliens prepared to leave and consult with their governments, Prime Minister Gexna approached Jake privately. Admiral, are humans truly committed to peace? More than you can imagine, Jake replied. We have seen what war costs. We will do whatever is necessary to prevent another 300 years of suffering. The first day of human diplomacy was over, but Jake knew the real negotiations were just beginning. General Kate Williams stood in the command center of the UES Valiant and watched the tactical displays with calm confidence. 3 days had passed since the diplomatic meeting at Haven Station, and the alien powers had made their choice. Intelligence reports showed secret meetings between the Zephyrian Empire, Karathi Federation, and Vexani Collective. They were planning something foolish. Lieutenant Commander Chris Taylor walked into the command center carrying his flight helmet. His Raptor squadron had been on standby for the past 12 hours waiting for orders. The best human pilots in the galaxy were ready to show the aliens what real space combat looked like. General Williams, our monitoring stations are picking up massive fleet movements from all 3 alien territories, reported Engineer Maria Santos from her control station. It looks like they are positioning forces for a coordinated strike. Kate nodded and activated the communication system. Admiral Morrison, this is General Williams aboard the Valiant. The aliens are moving into attack positions. Recommend we proceed with Operation Clarity. Jake Morrison's voice came through clearly from the UES Dominion. Approved, General. Show them what happens when they underestimate humanity. The plan was simple and devastating. For weeks, human ships had been monitoring every alien communication channel and tracking every fleet movement. The aliens thought they were being clever with their secret alliance, but humans had been listening to every word. Now the 3 powers were about to learn that their 300 years of warfare had taught them nothing about fighting a truly superior enemy. High Commander Veltar commanded the Zephyrian battle fleet from his flagship. He believed his reptilian warriors were the finest soldiers in the galaxy. His ships had fought countless battles during the Long War and emerged victorious against impossible odds. Surely these new humans could not match centuries of military experience. Prime Minister Gexna led the Karathi forces with equal confidence. Her insect-like people had developed advanced tactics during their struggle for survival. Their ships could move through space like a swarm of deadly hornets striking from multiple directions simultaneously. No enemy had ever successfully defended against a full Karathi assault. Node 07 controlled the Vexani collective fleet, with the combined intelligence of billions of linked minds. The hive mind could process battle information faster than any individual commander, and coordinate attacks with perfect precision. Their crystalline ships were technological marvels that had dominated space battles for generations. Together, the three fleets represented the greatest military force ever assembled in galactic history. Over 2,000 warships moved toward human positions with the intention of demonstrating that the newcomers were not as powerful as they claimed to be. This would be a test of strength that would establish the true balance of power in the galaxy. Chris Taylor launched from the Valiant, along with his 11 squadron mates. The Raptor fighters were sleek black ships that moved through space like hunting birds. Each pilot was connected to his ship through neural interfaces that made human and machine work as one deadly unit. They accelerated toward the alien fleets at speeds that seemed impossible. Engineer Maria Santos monitored the approaching battle from multiple sensor stations. Human technology allowed her to track every alien ship in real time, while remaining completely invisible to enemy sensors. The aliens were flying blind while humans could see. Everything with perfect clarity. The first contact came when Zephyrian scouts detected what they thought were human patrol ships near the border of their territory. High Commander Veltar ordered his fastest cruisers to investigate and destroy any human vessels they encountered. 6 Zephyrian warships raced toward the contacts at maximum speed. They flew directly into a trap. Chris Taylor and his Raptor squadron had been waiting in the asteroid field for 2 hours. When the alien ships appeared on their sensors, the human pilots smiled inside their helmets. The Zephyrians had no idea what was about to happen to them. Raptor leader to all units. Chris spoke calmly into his communication system. Targets are in range. Execute attack pattern Alpha. The 12 human fighters emerged from hiding and struck the Zephyrian cruisers with devastating precision. The aliens found themselves facing weapons that could punch through their strongest shields and armor like paper. Within 30 seconds, 4 of the 6 enemy ships were drifting helplessly in space with their engines destroyed, and their crews unconscious from shockwaves. High Commander Veltar watched in horror as his veteran warships were defeated by a handful of small human fighters. The speed and firepower of the enemy craft exceeded anything he had ever seen. His remaining cruisers retreated in panic, while broadcasting emergency warnings to the main fleet. The Karathi response was swift and overwhelming. Prime Minister Gexna ordered 300 of her best ships to surround and destroy the human fighters. The insect warriors swarmed toward Chris Taylor's position like angry wasps, seeking revenge for an attack on their nest. Chris simply smiled and activated his ship's special systems. Raptor Squadron, time to show them why we are called ghosts. The human fighters suddenly became invisible to all alien sensors. Advanced stealth technology made them disappear completely from enemy detection systems. The Karathi ships found themselves firing at empty space while the human pilots moved among them like deadly shadows. Within minutes, 50 Karathi vessels were disabled or destroyed. The remaining ships fled in terror after reporting that they were fighting invisible enemies with impossible capabilities. Prime Minister Gexna could not believe that her finest warriors had been defeated so easily. Node 07 decided to try a different approach. The Vexani Collective launched cyber attacks against human computer systems while sending their most advanced ships to test enemy defenses. The hive mind was confident that superior numbers and technology would overcome whatever advantages the humans possessed. Engineer Maria Santos detected the cyber intrusion attempt immediately. Human computer security had been designed to handle threats that the aliens could not even imagine. Instead of blocking the attack, she allowed it to proceed while secretly gaining access to the entire Vexani network. General Williams, "We now have complete control of all Vexani communication systems," Maria reported with satisfaction. "They tried to hack us and gave us access to their entire fleet." Kate Williams authorized the next phase of the demonstration. Human ships that had been hiding throughout the galaxy suddenly appeared on all alien sensors simultaneously. The 3 alien powers discovered that they were completely surrounded by human forces that outnumbered them 5 to 1. Admiral Morrison opened communication channels to all 3 enemy fleets. "This is Admiral Jake Morrison of the United Earth Coalition. You are surrounded and outgunned. Surrender immediately or face the consequences of continued resistance." The battle was over before it really began. High Commander Veltar, Prime Minister Gexna, and Node 07 realized they had made a terrible mistake. Humanity possessed military capabilities that made their own forces look like primitive savages fighting with stone weapons. One by one, the alien fleets powered down their weapons and accepted human terms for surrender. The galaxy had learned its first lesson about underestimating the newcomers from Earth. President Lisa Carter stood before the massive holographic display in the Earth Defense Command Center and smiled with quiet satisfaction. The time had come to reveal the true extent of human civilization to the galaxy. What the aliens had seen so far was only a small portion of humanity's real strength. Captain Ben Rodriguez received new orders from Earth Command, while his ship patrolled near the former battle site. The UES Dominion would soon be joined by fleet units that had been hidden in deep space for decades. The aliens were about to discover that humanity controlled far more territory than they had ever imagined. Dr. Amy Walsh analyzed the psychological profiles of the three alien leaders from her research station. The failed attack had shaken their confidence, but they still did not understand the hopelessness of their situation. High Commander Veltar was planning one last desperate offensive using every ship his people possessed. Prime Minister Gexna was trying to negotiate with the other alien powers for a unified response to the human threat. Node 07 had convinced the Vexani Collective that their survival depended on destroying humanity before the newcomers could consolidate their power. Admiral Jake Morrison knew about all these plans because human intelligence networks had penetrated every level of alien government and military command. The three races were preparing for what they believed would be the final battle for galactic supremacy. They had no idea that they were about to face an enemy beyond their worst nightmares. General Kate Williams coordinated the deployment of human forces from 12 different sectors. For over a century, Earth had been secretly establishing colonies and military bases throughout unexplored regions of space. The alien powers had spent 300 years fighting each other while humans quietly built an empire that spanned half the galaxy. Engineer Maria Santos worked frantically to prepare the new weapon systems that would be revealed during the coming battle. Human technology had advanced far beyond anything the aliens possessed, but most of it had been kept hidden until now. The demonstration at Haven Station had shown only the smallest sample of human capabilities. High Commander Veltar assembled the largest Zephyrian fleet in history. 5,000 warships gathered at the edge of his territory, while millions of reptilian warriors prepared for what they believed would be a glorious final battle. The Zephyrian military tradition demanded that they fight to the death rather than accept defeat from inferior enemies. Prime Minister Gexna coordinated with her allies through secret communication channels that she believed were secure. The three alien powers had agreed to combine their remaining forces into one massive armada. Together they commanded over 15,000 ships and billions of trained soldiers. Surely such overwhelming numbers would be enough to defeat the human invaders. Node 07 processed battle calculations through the linked minds of the entire Vexani Collective. The hive mind had determined that humanity posed an existential threat that required immediate elimination. Every available Vexani vessel would participate in the attack, regardless of the potential losses. The combined alien fleet was the largest military force ever assembled in galactic history. 20,000 warships moved toward human positions with the determination of desperate civilizations fighting for their very existence. The aliens believed they were about to witness the end of human expansion into their territory. They were completely wrong. President Carter activated communication systems that reached every human settlement throughout the galaxy. Citizens of Earth and all human colonies, the time has come to reveal ourselves to our new neighbors. Operation Revelation begins now. Across dozens of star systems, human fleets emerged from hidden bases and stealth positions. The aliens discovered that their sensors had been tracking only a tiny fraction of human military strength. Where they expected to find empty space, they encountered massive formations of advanced warships. Captain Rodriguez watched the tactical display as more than 50 human fleets appeared simultaneously around the alien armada. The enemy force that had seemed so overwhelming was now completely surrounded by superior numbers and technology. The aliens found themselves trapped in the center of a formation that stretched across multiple solar systems. Lieutenant Commander Chris Taylor led his expanded Raptor squadron through the alien formations while broadcasting surrender demands. The human fighters moved so fast that alien gunners could not track them, while their weapon systems proved capable of disabling enemy ships without destroying them completely. Dr. Walsh monitored alien communications as panic spread through their fleets. The three civilizations that had dominated the galaxy for centuries suddenly realized they were facing an enemy that made them look like primitive barbarians. Human technology and tactics were so advanced that resistance seemed pointless. High Commander Veltar tried to rally his forces for a final glorious charge, but his own officers were already discussing surrender terms. The reptilian warriors, who had never known defeat in 300 years of warfare, could see that they faced an impossible situation. Prime Minister Gexna attempted to negotiate with Admiral Morrison, while her ships were systematically disabled by human forces. The insect leader, who had masterminded countless victories during the Long War, found herself completely outmaneuvered by superior strategy and planning. Node 07 experienced something the Vexani collective had never known before. For the first time in their history, the hive mind felt genuine fear. The combined intelligence of billions of linked minds could not find any possible way to defeat the human forces that surrounded them. The Battle of Crimson Nebula lasted exactly 4 hours and 17 minutes. When it was over, not a single human ship had been destroyed, while 70% of the alien fleet was either captured or disabled. The remaining enemy vessels surrendered without firing another shot. Captain Rodriguez led the rescue operations that saved thousands of alien crew members from damaged ships. Human medical teams worked alongside alien survivors to treat the wounded and evacuate the injured. The mercy shown by human forces surprised everyone, including the aliens themselves. Admiral Morrison broadcast a message to all surviving alien commanders. This battle is over, but the war does not have to continue. Humanity offers peace to all those wise enough to accept it. We fight to protect life, not to destroy it. General Williams coordinated the establishment of temporary prison camps for captured alien personnel. The facilities provided better living conditions than most of the aliens had experienced during their own brutal war. Human guards treated their prisoners with respect and dignity that had been unknown. During 3 centuries of conflict, President Carter addressed the galaxy from Earth for the first time since human contact began. Today marks the end of an era of endless warfare and the beginning of a new age of cooperation. Humanity invites all civilizations to join us in building a better future for everyone. The 3 alien powers formally surrendered within hours of her speech. The galaxy had learned that resistance to human authority was not only futile, but completely unnecessary. Humanity offered something that the aliens had never experienced before: genuine peace with honor and dignity for all participants. Admiral Jake Morrison stood in the rebuilt council chambers of Haven Station 6 months after the Battle of Crimson Nebula and watched representatives from dozens of species take their seats. The galaxy had changed beyond recognition in such a short time. Where once there had been 3 warring powers locked in endless conflict, now there was unity under human leadership. President Lisa Carter arrived at the station aboard the new flagship UES Unity, accompanied by delegates from Earth and the major human colonies. Today would mark the official establishment of the Terran-led Galactic Council and the beginning of a new era for all civilizations. The woman who had guided humanity through its emergence as a galactic power now prepared to become the first chancellor of a unified galaxy. Captain Ben Rodriguez commanded the honor guard as former enemies gathered to sign the peace accords that would govern interstellar relations for generations to come. His promotion to admiral had been confirmed the previous week, along with his appointment as head of the new Joint Species Fleet Command. The man who had demonstrated human tactical superiority would now teach those same skills to alien officers. Dr. Amy Walsh reviewed the cultural integration protocol she had developed with her new alien colleagues. The interspecies cultural exchange program had already begun healing wounds that had festered for 3 centuries. Former enemies were learning to work together as partners in building a better future for everyone. High Commander Veltar entered the council chambers wearing the new uniform of the Galactic Defense Forces. The proud reptilian warrior had chosen to serve under human leadership rather than face the complete dissolution of his military traditions. His Zephyrian soldiers now worked alongside human marines to patrol the trade routes and protect merchant vessels from pirates. Prime Minister Gexna had transformed her role from military leader to civilian administrator. in charge of reconstruction efforts throughout the war-torn regions. The insect politician who had once commanded vast fleets now coordinated relief operations that brought food and medicine to billions of displaced refugees. Her organizational skills were perfectly suited for the massive task of rebuilding entire civilizations. Node 07 represented the Vexani Collective in its new role as the galaxy's communication and information network. The hive mind had agreed to share its linking technology with other species in exchange for protection and resources. Instead of using their abilities for war, the crystalline beings now helped coordinate peaceful activities across thousands of star systems. General Kate Williams addressed the assembled delegates about the new military structure that would replace the old system of competing fleets. The Galactic Defense Forces would be jointly commanded by officers from all species working together to protect everyone. Human technology and training would be shared freely to ensure that the galaxy could defend itself against any external threats. Lieutenant Commander Chris Taylor had become the instructor for the new Integrated Fighter Academy, where pilots from different species learned to work as teams. The human ace who had dominated the skies during the recent conflict now taught former enemies how to fly together in mixed squadrons. His Raptor fighters served alongside Zephyrian interceptors and Karathi assault craft in perfect coordination. Engineer Maria Santos supervised the technology transfer programs that were revolutionizing life throughout the galaxy. Human advances in medicine, agriculture, and manufacturing were being shared with all member species. Planets that had been devastated by 3 centuries of warfare were being rebuilt with methods that would make them more prosperous than ever before. President Carter called the assembly to order and began the ceremony that would officially create the new galactic government. Today we gather not as conquerors and conquered, but as partners in a shared future. Humanity did not come to this galaxy to rule through fear, but to lead through example. The signing ceremony proceeded smoothly as each species formally joined the Galactic Council. High Commander Veltar spoke for the Zephyrian Empire when he pledged his people's loyalty to the new order. Prime Minister Gexna represented the Karathi Federation in accepting human leadership and guidance. Node 07 transmitted the collective agreement of the Vexani to participate in the unified government. Admiral Morrison announced the establishment of new exploration fleets that would venture beyond the known galaxy to search for other civilizations. Instead of expanding through conquest, humanity would grow through peaceful contact and voluntary alliance. The combined resources of all member species would support these missions to the distant stars. The economic integration programs had already begun showing remarkable results. Trade between former enemies had increased by over 500%, as human-designed security measures eliminated piracy and conflict. Zephyrian mining operations now supplied raw materials to Karathi manufacturing centers, while Vexani communication networks coordinated distribution throughout human space. Dr. Walsh presented her report on cultural adaptation and integration. Marriage between different species was becoming common as barriers of mistrust disappeared. Mixed crews operated starships while integrated colonies were being established on newly discovered worlds. The diversity that had once caused conflict was now seen as a source of strength. Captain Rodriguez outlined the new exploration protocols that would govern contact with unknown civilizations. Any species discovered in the future would be approached peacefully and invited to join the galactic community. The mistakes that had led to centuries of warfare would not be repeated. President Carter accepted her election as the first galactic chancellor by unanimous vote of all member species. Her first official act was to authorize the construction of massive shipyards that would build vessels designed by engineers from all races working together. The new ships would carry crews from every species and represent the unity that humanity had brought to the galaxy. The celebration continued for 3 days as billions of beings throughout the galaxy marked the end of the war era and the beginning of the peace era. Human musicians performed alongside alien artists, while chefs from different worlds created fusion cuisines that delighted everyone. The diversity that had once divided them now brought joy and wonder. Admiral Morrison received reports from monitoring stations at the edge of galactic space. Strange signals had been detected coming from beyond the rim, where no known civilizations existed. Whatever lay in that darkness might require the combined strength of all the galaxy's peoples to face. The unity that humanity had forged through strength and mercy would soon face its first real test. The new galaxy was ready for whatever challenges awaited in the unknown regions of space. Under human leadership, former enemies had become allies and isolated civilizations had joined together as one people. The age of endless war was over and the age of exploration and cooperation had begun. Peace had finally come to the galaxy, and it would last forever because humanity had shown everyone that strength without mercy was meaningless, while mercy without strength was impossible. The lesson would be remembered for all the generations yet to come.